What is going on, everybody? Back for another video. Today we're going to be checking out Chancelor Red. Before we get started with today's video, please make sure to join my Patreon as a free or as a paid member. I do deck articles almost every day for paid members, about once to twice a week for free members. And also make sure to go on the community page on my YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe and write down what your favorite deck is from set 3. So you can be entered into the 3,000 subscriber giveaway for that, as we were getting pretty close to 3,000 now. This is straight from a list that finished top 8 a couple of weeks ago. I thought it was a really cool list, and I'd seen some ideas about Chancellor Red as being a potential, strong aggressive deck because of its ability to kind of heal and draw cards and then put the pressure on with the Sidious flip. I really liked this list, so I didn't really change anything in today's video. I just kind of wanted to take it for what it was. It definitely takes a lot of finesse, kind of maneuvering the flips and making sure that you have cards to play. But it's a lot of fun, and I think that's why there's so many cheap hero units, just because you can kind of squeeze them in, especially the 1-drops. Like, even if you're on the Sidious side and you don't have a villainy card for some reason, you can still play those for like 3 cost or 4 cost even, some of them. So like that makes it not too bad when you get around those turns, because typically around like 4 resources to 6 resources, you want to be on the villainy side anyways. You want to be able to like triple Dark Raid for 4 resources, because then you can play Ruthless Raider. At 5 resources, you can triple Dark Raid a Ruthless Raider, flip back over from Sidious to Chancellor, and then play a Heroic Sacrifice on your Ruthless Raider and get in for 2, 8 plus another 2. So a 12 damage attack. So you get in for 12 damage on 5 resources with the Ruthless Raider Heroic Sacrifice play, and an additional 2 more damage from flipping from Darth Sidious to Palpatine. So actually you're doing 14 damage on the 5 resource turn if you have those 3 cards in your hand, which is pretty insane. And I was able to pull it off in one of the games today, as you saw from the clip in the intro. And that's when I was like, okay, I really like this deck, because this deck is fun. Like it takes a little more planning than a normal aggro deck. Like it's a little more complicated, but it's got some real power. Like having Ruthless Raider at your top end, and your top end being able to attack in at 4 resources is crazy. Drawing cards in an aggro deck just with your ability for free is insane. And then healing for 2 damage when you're going up against like aggro decks, this just kind of keeps them in check, especially if they've gotten off to a faster start than you for some reason, which can happen. You also have the ability to exploit things to trigger Palpatine, which is really cool. Like you're using Heavy Persuader Tank and Geonosis Patrol Fighter to exploit things, just to kill things. Heroic Sacrifice kills things, so even if your opponent's like, I'm not killing their units, you're like, I'll just kill them myself, which is awesome. And it makes so much sense in here. So whoever made this list, I cannot remember the guy's name, but yeah, this is a fun one, man. If you haven't messed around with Palpatine, it takes a little bit of time to get used to it and kind of get a feel for it, but once you get a feel for it, like, it's a really strong leader. And aggro is definitely around. It's cool that you can play control and aggro in Palpatine Sidious, since both of them are competitive in my opinion. So let's kind of break down the list. So starting off, like turn 1, you're trying to, you definitely want to play hero units. So that's why you have so many. You have 9, 11, 14 turn 1 hero unit plays, and that's totally on purpose, so that you always have a turn 1 play. Anytime you don't, if that does happen, you definitely are mulligan, because you want to get early pressure. I mean, you're trying to just outpace your opponent before that they can, especially if it's a mid-range or control deck, you're trying to pressure them before they get to their leader and just put them under so much pressure that it doesn't matter what they do. Against aggro, you want to keep up with them. You have built-in ways to outpace them, as well as recover if they get ahead of you, which is what I really like about this deck. You kind of want to plan out your turns. Like sometimes you need to stay on Palpatine an extra turn to get a couple more units down before you flip, or stay there another turn so that you have more possible units to attack in with before you go over to Sidious. You want to time your triple dark raids to make sense. Lurking TIE Phantom is a great triple dark raid target at 3 cost because you can swing it for 4 damage. But typically you want to try to find your Ruthless Raiders or your Heavy Persuader tanks because you're going to get in for 6 damage, or 8 damage with Ruthless Raider automatically at so Ruthless Raiders at 4 resources. Heavy Persuader tank is maybe it's at 5 resources. But yeah, I mean, those are your top end cards, but you're spending 4 or 5 resources with a triple dark raid to get them out and attacking in. So you definitely want to time those. I mean, obviously just playing a Ruthless Raider by itself is just incredible anyways, as just like a way to finish things off if you haven't won by a 6 resource turn, which most of the time I think you're going to win around that time. 5, 6 resources, most likely 6. The Sidious, sometimes playing those cheap things with Sidious is really good too, just like flipping back and forth, because the pressure from Sidious is really strong, like 2 damage plus a 2/2 clone trooper, and especially when you flip back over to Chancellor, you can squeeze in another unit like a Cartel or a Wolfpack. If you have 1 resource left, or even 2 resources, you can squeeze in, Squadron A-Wing or Anakin's Interceptor, or even Ketsu on you. So, I mean, you can really, really pressure your opponent quickly if things fall in place. So I do think it does take some reps. But your turn 1 plays, obviously playing 2 1-drops is great. Ketsu or Green Squadron, or even Anakin. I mean, your best plays are going to be just space. I think in general, going space on your turn 1 plays increases your chances that it's going to survive, depending on what you're playing against. But I think most decks are not space heavy like that, or especially like this deck. Turn 2 plays, I mean, obviously red 3 can be useful sometimes. Falcon is not really my ideal turn 2 play because it's going to start taxing me immediately. That's a card I want more like on 5 or 6 resources where I don't care as much about the tax, especially because Triple Dark Raid allows me to cheat things in as well. So if I already have the Falcon out there, like I can play Triple Dark Raid and cheat in something else. Turn 2, though, I'm typically playing a hero unit. It depends on what's happening and what my hand is, of course. I do like Elite Starfighter as a turn 2 play, of course, especially because that goes so well with Tarkentown, just to remove their threats, or remove something that's blocking our pressure, like a Sentinel. And then, like I said, around 4 resources, where for Triple Dark rating, ideally we want to find a Ruthless Raider at 4, because that's like a home run. We can swing in for 8 damage, I believe, right? Yes. And then get it back to our hand and still play it again in 2 turns, which is insane. Ruthless Raider is definitely like incredible in here. Anakin's Interceptor feels really good in here too, because sometimes you are going to get to that place where your opponent gets right around 15 damage or more, and that's like very possible in here to be in a game where that happens, because you are gaining life. I think if you didn't have the life gain, those are games you'd probably lose if you're getting close to 20-25 against other aggressive opponents. But Anakin actually, because there's a window there, because we're gaining life, we're able to kind of actually have that happen where we get to swing in for 4 damage with Anakin or 6 damage with the Heroic Sacrifice, which is crazy. So definitely feels like a strong card in here. A lot of times I am Heroic Sacrificing just to flip Palpatine back to Sidious so that I can get over to the Triple Dark Raids and the Starfighters early on. And I mean, especially if I still have units on board, it's going to be a play that I will consider. But one of the great things about Heroic Sacrifice, because of my ability to create tokens and draw cards, Heroic Sacrifice can just be something I'm not, I'm much more likely to do it early in the game, especially if I'm setting up big things on the villainy side. Starfighter, of course, is just a great Triple Dark Raid target because of the ability to ping them again and again. Phase Clone Trooper is a maybe card. I'd almost consider this a different hero card as a 2-drop. Because, I mean, the purpose of ambushing it in is what? Just to trade? And that's not really what I'm trying to do here, especially for 3 power. So I think that's the card that after playing this deck a little bit, that I was like, yeah, that's alright. I mean, I guess on turn 2 it lets me kill one of my opponent's units and immediately, I mean, as far as triggering Palpatine, it makes sense, because then I'm able to flip if I want to flip. So I guess that for that reason it's good. So but maybe that's a card you could consider for something else. The Geonosis Patrol Fighter was cool. That definitely came in handy in a few games, basically, and exploit a hero unit to flip to Sidious. So that felt really strong. Heavy Persuader as well, being able to play that essentially on turn 2 if we have a Cartel and a Wolfpack Escort on turn 1, which is crazy to have a 6/5 on turn 2 and do 2 damage to a ground unit. I didn't do that at all during the games today, just because it felt like I was giving up too much resources, but either way, it's still a very, very strong triple dark raid target. So, but yeah, it's a fun one. You kind of see in the games today how things go and like what I'm talking about when to time things, when to flip, when not to flip, and the triple dark raid and like timing that. I'm sure I made a couple of misplays, as this was my first time playing this deck. That's the best way to learn though, is just throw yourself in it and figure it out. I've played Chancellor Palpatine some before, so I have some familiarity with it, and I definitely understand what this deck's trying to do, but there's still going to be some misplays, I'm sure. The sideboard, I guess in this tournament he had the Confiscate for the Dark Sabers, because that's definitely a way that other aggressive opponents can outpace you. The Bazine probably for control. Also, just Bazine in general is great for Palpatine. These type of Palpatine Sidious decks, just to resource it and then have a villainy card at any time that you can play to flip back over to Palpatine. I guess the Wolf is in here just to prevent life gain decks, which makes sense. The 2 Chaos of War is probably for control, and the 2 Waylay is probably for more mid-range control type decks. Or just if you're concerned about really powerful units in general from a certain deck. But yeah, this is a fun one. So let's get into these games and kind of show you how this deck performs. All right, up against Jango Red here. We could go Cartel plus Wolfpack. I think that is risky because Wolfpack's just going to die. But we have the initiative. But he could have like an ISB agent or something on turn 1. Like to mulligan. No, I like having triple dark raid. I like Ruthless Raider. This allows us to play it for 3 cost. It's just tough decisions here because I don't want to get rid of too much. Playing this for 3 costs seems pretty good. Especially because we can sack a... We could sack both of these 1-drops next turn and play this, which is kind of insane. I don't know if we should, but it does allow us to then play triple dark raid. Our following turn. This is tough. I just really don't want to get rid of Ruthless Raider. It's like such a strong card in this matchup. And I don't want to get rid of our space presence either. So we're going to play Green Squadron here. Problem is if they ping us, then they can just immediately use Tarkin Town. That is one thing I did not think about until right afterwards. Luckily it didn't happen. But it does allow us to switch to... Oh god. It does allow us to switch, but I claimed the initiative, which I should not have done. Okay, he didn't ping us. Alright, we're gonna stay in space. Once one of our units dies, then we will flip over to the Dark Raider. I want to hold on to the Ruthless Raider because it's going to help us finish things off. mean, the healing will help too to help us to keep pace with him. He had a pretty good turn 1 there, but he didn't get to ping us, unfortunately, for him. If he kills one of our units right now with like a elite starfighter Tarkin Town, then we will just switch over to Sidious. He did not. Okay. Claiming the initiative. Triple Dark Raid, Triple Dark Raid. That has ambush. It does kill. Something this turn. I want to have options. Okay, are we going face or killing Cartel? Well, if he kills us with Cartel, which he's gonna have to use a surprise strike, so we'll let him use resources to do that, and then we can always switch over to Triple Dark Raid, so just going face. And we have the advantage of gaining life at any time. So, okay. Sure. That is fine. He can now kill us. So I'm not going to do that because I don't have to draw a card. I was gonna kill with the Cartel, but I'm not gonna do that because I don't want to draw a card. Okay. Okay. If he kills one of our units here, we're just gonna flip. Have the Triple Dark Raid for next turn. Okay, looks like he's doing that. Okay. Yes. And then we're going to use Tarkin 10 on his Cartel Spacer. Heroic Sacrifice is nice. Okay. So this turn we can go Triple Dark Raid plus something else. The question is, do I want to switch back over? Because I have the Ruthless Raider, I really don't want to switch back over. So let's just go that route. Okay, he's going face, it looks like. He's flipping Jango this turn. Do we care? I think we can flip next turn after we play with this Raider. I mean, we're swinging in for 3, 6, 8 damage this turn. He's swinging in for 7. Okay, well, there's a Ruthless Raider potentially, which makes, okay, just a Starfighter, but he is going to exhaust one of our units, which isn't great. Question is now, do we want to play it? Do you want to just kill that? Or swing in? I mean, we still have a Triple Dark Raid too this turn. I think we're just gonna keep going. See what he does. Okay, he did that, which is weird. Search where's your deck? Cost 5 less. Okay, so we can play Ruthless Raider, which is amazing. We can swing it. Okay, yeah, Ruthless Raider's amazing hit here. So there's actually some pretty... Oh, definitely gonna kill that. If he gets lucky, he did not. Okay. So now we can switch, go to 17, and then Heroic Sacrifice. That's so crazy. That's amazing. And then we're swinging it for 8 with Heroic Sacrifice, which is nuts. Oof, that's crazy, man. Good game. That was pretty disgusting. Alright, so looks like we're going Cartel. Spacer, I guess, into... Well, maybe Cartel Turncoat into Red 3, and then when one of those die. So we're gonna get rid of a Triple Dark Raid. And... the Cartel Spacer, I guess. Oh, that's not what happened. This thing bugged out on me. Just gonna get rid of, yeah, one Cartel, one Triple Dark Raid. Thran and Thranderson. Okay, Cartel Spacer, Triple Dark Raid. Okay, so we're gonna go Cartel into Red 3, unless he kills Cartel immediately somehow, which I don't think is possible. Okay, Heroic Sacrifice is nice, but I think... Get rid of one of those. Try to just attack in with Cartel first. See what he does here. Okay. So we're gonna play Red 3 and kill the Restore Arc. Chopper. Okay, so now we have Heroic Sacrifice as an option to switch over to Elite Starfighter. Or even Triple Dark Raid. Okay. I really don't want him to draw a card, but I also really need to flip over, so I mean, I guess whatever. So we play Elite Starfighter, we can do... We drew the Anakin. Interesting why he's okay. Well, I could try another. This gets raid 1. On attack, discard a card from the defending player's deck. If it's an event, exhaust resource that player controls. Both of those are bad. I'm not sure why he didn't attack. Discard a card from the defending player's deck if it's an event. Exhaust a resource that player controls. We can kill Kanan next turn. With another Starfighter. No Good to Me Dead is also good. Get rid of one of these Anakin's Interceptors. Hold on to the Geonosis as a way to exploit one of our heroes when we're back on the Chancellor side. I'm trying to save the the Triple Dark Raid when we get closer to killing our opponent. Okay, that was... Now I wish I would have Tarkin Towned him. But we're gonna No Good to Me Dead that card actually now. Why is it saying that we have... Oh, because he used Chopper. Goodness, that's why he did that. Wasn't that nice? Well, he's putting his shield on something. You can't do that because that was not the same turn. That's alright, we'll flip over to Anakin. Create a 2/2, put 2 damage. We could still use this next turn for 3 cost, and then still play Triple Dark Raid. Okay, Crafty Smuggler's a thing. So let's get in for damage. Luke flips next turn. Up to 14 is not bad. Get to 16 with Sidious. You can put another shield on Crafty Smuggler, I guess. Our other option is to yeah, we're just gonna attack into Clone Trooper into the Kanan actually. Go there. Flip. Play that. Pass. Heroic Sacrifice is good. See what he does though first. I think we're probably going either Fighter, Triple Dark. Yeah, I don't think we're playing the Phantom right now. Or we're just heroic sacrificing the Clone Trooper. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's pretty strong. Gonna get in for 9 more damage. Unless our opponent has like a Sentinel in space. Okay, he's still gotta find a way to interact with Red 3, and he does not. So, good game. Just kind of arena dodged him heavy in space. Alright, up against Sabine Yellow. So we're gonna go green A-Wing into Clone Trooper, I guess. So we're gonna go Phantom and one of these. Okay, well that's pretty good. If we're switching over, we could still play the Genesis, right? Have no good to me dead. Just let Anakin go. So I think we want to attack first. Could have a wing leader though. Yeah, let's just get rid of that. I don't think there's a way you could kill Green Squadron immediately, yeah. So let's get in for 3. Then we're going to heal 2 and flip. Alright. Now we have no good to me dead, which is great. And what is our other play? Just a heroic sacrifice? I mean, Triple Dark Raid heroic sacrifice isn't bad either. It's not bad. Then we have no units on board, so that part's not great. You could have Azatuk Liberator here, which would take out our green A-Wing. I think no good to me dead flip is just our best play, ideally. This deck definitely takes some finesse, like kind of just knowing the right time of things. Yeah, now I feel good about where we're at. So we're going to get it for 2 more damage, get a trooper, and get to flip next turn. Okay, he's playing a sneak attack. Okay. He could kill our 2/2 if he does. If we go ahead and do it now. Wish we had another no good to me dead, right? Sneak attack, are they defeated or do they go back to the hand? Oh yeah, it gets defeated, okay. Do we still want to... Yeah, I mean, either way, we still want to... Wait. Okay, I think we want to pass and let him attack. Okay, now we want to flip. So he doesn't kill our 2/2. And then we want to pass. Okay. Okay. I like that we can squeeze in the wolf. I like the starfighter. We can heroic sacrifice. We don't need the clone trooper necessarily. Yeah, I want to stay away from that. He's at 5. Okay, well that's a card. That is a card. Get up to 18. Is there any point in us playing Starfighter this turn? Or Triple Dark Raid? Can we win this turn? I don't know. We could Ruthless Raider, so we'd swing in for at least a decent amount. I kind of want to do that next turn, so let's just go Wolfpack Escort into Starfighter. We're gonna flip, gain some life. Cartel's good. Play this, do a damage. Let's do a non-leader unit. Okay. So we have 8 damage on board plus a Triple Dark Raid. Also Ruthless Raider, which does help us. We could do a Triple Dark Raid plus Anakin plus Cartel. If we get the Triple Dark Raid, what did he just do? He sneak attacked that card? Well, that's not great. He did it to himself, okay. No way. He just screwed up. That was a big screw up. I mean, I'm not going to play Ruthless Raider if he does that then. That doesn't make the most sense for us. Getting for 5. Yeah, we really need a Triple Dark Raid, like a Ruthless Raider's ideal with a Triple Dark Raid. Yeah, I was about to say I don't think you wanted to do that. So we have to win this turn. That's our. Okay, he left. Is he coming back? Alrighty. I think Ruthless Raider's gonna be pretty good here. Yeah, I'm gonna keep the Raiders, because that's gonna be our way to close things out. Okay. There's a clone trooper. Do we want to kill that? I don't know. I don't think so. There's a card. I think we want to play the green A-Wing. And then the Heroic Sacrifice. Flip over to the Dark Raid and stay there, I guess? I don't know. I mean, he's gonna kill something here anyways with laser tech, so. I really don't want to get rid of the the Dark Raid or the Ruthless Raider. And can't really play the Dark Raid this turn. Well, that's a thing. So we just get rid of the official. I'm not sure why he's doing that. Just Tarkin Town it. So this is not a Sentinel anymore. We'll lose one of our units here with laser tech most likely, which is fine. Play it, flip, draw a card. Okay. Probably just going to try to arena dodge here. I don't think we really care too much about the clone trooper. Because here we can play triple Dark Raid. Depending on what we get, we can... Okay. Let's get in for 3. Okay. He's gonna kill our green squadron, which is fine. He did not do that. He's ramping into Palp. Now that part's not good because I don't want him to steal a Ruthless Raider. What do we have here? The Elite Starfighter. I guess. Another Maz Ameda. Do you want to ping, create a trooper, and then play a cartel? Possibly. Because we can always go back next turn. And this way he doesn't have any great targets for stealing at the moment. Could go Falcon into Starfighter here. I don't think we're using the heavy persuader tank at the moment. Whatever he pings, I really... Okay. Cool. Just gonna try to stay in space. Okay. Admiral Piet. Why does he keep... Oh, he's playing... He's searching for a unit, okay. Get in for 3. Get in for 2. Falcon. Then we're going to heal, draw a card, play this unit. Kill that. And pass. Yeah, we do, because there's a resource exhaust. We can still play the Raider. Potentially. But I mean, he has to deal with our space units to have a chance here. And our subtle life gain is just keeping us greatly in check. He has nothing to steal at the moment, which is good for us. I should be able to finish him off with just Ruthless Raider after we attack in. Yeah, this deck's pretty fun. It definitely takes some finesse and some getting used to kind of know when to switch back and forth and kind of manipulate your hand, but it feels really good. I feel like this is going to be one of those decks that continues to get better and continues to see more play as people get used to Chancellor Palpatine. But I really like this. It's a fun one too because you're drawing a lot of cards, and that's always a good thing for an aggro deck. And Sidious is flip too. You're creating a unit basically for free and then doing 2 damage for free. I mean, that's really strong. It keeps pace with other aggro decks. I mean, heavy space is always a good thing. I mean, the ability to heroic sacrifice a Ruthless Raider with a triple dark raid is insane on the same turn. Okay. I mean, he can still gain some life here. Okay. So, we definitely go in there so that he can steal it all he wants, but it's not going to be enough. And he sees the writing on the wall. Good game. Yeah, so I mean, he steals that. We attack in. We could also just force choke Vader. Not that we need to, because it's not a problem at the moment. And really just want to, you know, force him to have ways to deal with our units, and then just play Ruthless Raider to finish him off. So that was another good one. So back for the post-game wrap-up. So this deck went 4-1, so 80% win percentage. So it felt very, very good. And that was even with me kind of figuring out and making some misplays along the way. The game where I lost was definitely because of me making a bunch of misplays. Some cards that I would consider for this are maybe like Leia Organa, because it allows us to cheat in one of those 1 resource units to go, you know, to have 2 units on board on turn 1. It's a great way to exhaust like opponents' leaders or units that have upgrades like Jedi lightsabers or dark sabers type of thing. Also, just being able to just ready a resource later, around 5 or 6 resources, I feel like is really strong too, because it allows us to do multiple things in a turn, like to squeeze in that heroic sacrifice if we're you know, on a turn while playing a Leia, or squeeze in another, you know, one resource unit. I think it could be really useful. Or just being able to like play Leia, ready a resource, flip over to Sidious, and then still play like a triple dark raid and play a Ruthless Raider, you know, something like that, like where it allows us to just keep putting pressure on our opponents. So I think that's a card I would consider over the Clone Trooper. That's the flex card, I would say. Red 3 is like I think it's fine. At 2, I don't think I want it to be 3. I think 2 is fine, because I don't always have hero units on board. It's kind of like, that's another one that's kind of questionable, just because sometimes we don't have hero units on the board because they get killed, and we want them to die sometimes, so we can flip to Sidious. So it's like a Red 3, I feel like it gets value sometimes, especially if we just go space heavy. But it's a card that I'm okay with it at 2. But Daring Raid is another card I would consider, just because it activates Tarkentown. I think that could be a really good play against like Jango, Cad Bane Red, even Sabine. I think that's a card I'd want to have. Even control matchups, I want Daring Raid because it helps me push that extra 2 damage. So that's another card I would consider for the sideboard as well. I would probably put that in over Wolf personally, just because I feel like Wolf's just too easily removed, and I don't know, Daring Raid kind of is a cheap way to push more damage as well as activate Tarkentown, and it's a card that I would strongly consider in here. Although you do have a decent amount of ways to ping your opponents with Elite Starfighter or Heavy Persuader Tank and Ruthless Raider anyways, but Daring Raid just gives you that turn 1 immediately remove a threat while playing one of your 1-drops, and that's pretty strong. So especially against those aggressive opponents, I think Control is just a way to get in for more damage, as well as the Chaos of War. So that's another card I would consider. The sideboard, I think, is still, it really depends on what you're up against, and I think the Series Officer is another card I would consider. It's the 2-drop villainy card that's a 2/1. When it dies, it does 2 damage to your opponent's base, so it kind of goes in sync with, you know, what Sidious is doing when it flips back over. So we play that unit, flip to Sidious, we create another 2/2, and then do 2 damage. And then when the series officer dies, we do 2 damage. So it just kind of goes with the theme of pushing that extra little bit of damage, like with Heroic Sacrifice and Raider and Sidious, which I think makes a lot of sense in here as an option. Again, I think that kind of is the spot where I would consider for the Clone Trooper, probably, between that card and Leia. But yeah, I mean, overall, this deck felt really, really strong. I really like it. The sideboard, like I said, I still got to work on that. And I think it depends on what you feel like you're going to be up against. But it's a fun one. Definitely let me know what you guys think in the comments. Would love to hear it. And, if you've been playing this deck at all, what cards do you really like in here? And what kind of success have you had with this deck? But as always, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and y'all have a good one. Peace out.